All right. Into the news.
Did anything happen this week?
You could say so. I'd say 19 minutes of thing happened this
19
week.
minutes of thing?
19 minutes
You're obviously talking about Yoshi P apologizing to the player base, right?
for 19 minutes straight.
Yeah, actually, for real.
Dogeza. What happened?
Oh,
That's
you don't know? It's not
what-
part of the news?
There's the I was actually going to talk about the 19 minutes of Elden Ring. But
Oh, you mean the footage that I'm watching right now?
that's correct.
I just got to the part where they used I don't know what to call them, a horsey jumper, like the wind thing to make the horse jump go high.
Sonic bounce pads. So I can see based on the news that I can see that a lot of FF14 announcements have been dropped in the recent days.
Yeah, like literally the past couple days.
So would this be the fact that Endwalker has been delayed to early December?
Yeah, so they started up the last live letter before the expansion drop, and Yoshi P very much was awkward, and then he tried not to cry as he basically explained that they will absolutely 100% have to delay the game 2 weeks because they gave a pretty explicit reason. And it was because they had spent so much time just putting one more thing to make it just perfect that QA got back to them and they're like, there's absolutely no way we're going to have the time to hit all this stuff, fix all this stuff, and get server stability under control for the launch date. So it's being pushed back 2 weeks.
Now, I don't know a whole lot about anything, but from my ignorant perspective, the fact that he was close to or possibly did cry while announcing this sounds like an overreaction to something that is ultimately probably not that big of a deal if a 2-week delay has to happen.
This is something that requires slightly more context.
Please,
right?
Please.
There's one big piece of information that you need to know to put this into context, which is 2 weeks is not enough time to tell your boss you need to change the week you took off from work.
Oh. Oh my God. It's about that level of dedication.
Woolie, these things come out once every 2 years.
Got it.
And
got it.
everybody takes the week off of work so that they can just crush it.
Oh my God.
And now,
Jesus Christ.
Tons and tons and literally millions of people are going to be sitting at home with a week off of nothing and then having to go to work during the launch week.
And I'm going to guess that because he is someone who actually plays and does it at a high level, he understands exactly what that experience
100%.
is like more than someone who might not be in the trenches, so to speak.
Absolutely. Also, Yoshi P has never delayed a game.
Okay.
And they're delaying it. They're delaying it by 2 weeks. 2 weeks from the release.
Okay.
It is the only shade I will drop on Yoshi P and the team. This is too late to announce a delay.
Well, I push back and I say that compliance doesn't have a fucking time limit.
So it's not compliance. It's the fact that the player base has increased by over 30% in the past couple months.
And they don't have the structure for it?
Well, they've been working on it, but this type of stuff was not in the plans. That's why they delayed the They delayed the server crunch for the data center stuff, and they went too far in terms of like, well, if we have one more day, we can put this thing in, or we can tweak this cutscene. And then QA gets back to them and goes, dude, there is not enough time. There is just not enough time to get this stuff ready to go.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because Shadowbringers is a good example. Shadowbringers came out and was actively being DDoSed for the entirety of its launch day. And aside from 1 hour in which I lost my connection twice, there was no issue. It is the only MMO that ever launches and you can actually play the game the day it comes out.
Okay, I have a very important question here. How was the community response to his live letter?
They thought that he was. It was two things. One, oh no, my time off, and then was followed by, not separately, but like followed by, oh man, he's being too hard on himself. Like we can all understand that the team is doing their best and
Jesus
they're trying to really just make the best game, and they don't want to keep the release date and have the game crash on everybody on release date.
Okay, good. Because, like, the 2 weeks out thing and the time off thing definitely are like, that sucks. I can see that one-to-one. The part of it where it's like I had a perfect track record and then a mistake happened and now here we are and it's not a perfect record anymore. That you can't hold yourself to that standard. Delays are normal and you cannot have an unhealthy reaction to like finally making a mistake when it's an industry where this kind of thing happens and it's normal, you know?
Yeah, so the dude's a perfectionist micromanager, and he somehow managed to hit those deadlines every time his whole career. So I can understand the frustration.
So the world doesn't need to like weigh in harder on what he's probably putting on his own plate, for sure. But
while he's also the head of the FF16 project, I might add.
Fuck. Yeah, okay. So that like I'm glad that people have been understanding about that, because this sounds like somebody who will flagellate over these types of situations.
On the plus side, legitimately, this has unironically, for many individuals, saved Christmas. Okay. Because the scheduling of FF14's expansions is such that expansion drops, and then 2 weeks later, they give you the new currency that you can earn, because they don't want to unlock that at the start, because then people will feel the need to rush their way through, right? So it's like multiple weeks before you can earn an end game currency. And then 2 weeks after that, they put out the first raids, because they, again, don't want people to have to rush. The original timing of the release of the Savage Raid, and thus the World First race, was going to be Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Which meant people were going to be world firsting it like straight through Christmas.
Fuck the family, we're doing it. Yeah, okay. Now, you said that this has the problem was that they grew 30%?
35% since July of the so there's a survey group called Lucky Bancho that does, like, they dig onto servers and they search characters and they figure out the numbers. There's two types of player counts in 14. There's people that are logging in at least once a week that are at level cap, and then there is the total amount of players. The total amount is the one you always see. 24 million people. That includes level 1 alts.
Yeah, okay.
That's like that's 21 million registered service accounts that are not necessarily being played right now.
Well, fortunately, that increase means that there's a higher percentage chance that the salaryman who took that week off will then get to go talk to a boss who super understands, because he too took the week off, and they're both fucked, and they go, all right, let's move it forward, no problem.
The increase, the 35% increase since July, is not in the total number. It's of people at level cap logging in once a week.
Okay.
So, like, the quote unquote real player base has actually grown by 1/3 in the past couple months, which is fucking huge for a game that's running a service like this.
No, it's like
the most wholesome thing that I've seen out of this is you go to the 14 Reddit and there's people that are like asking to move doctor's appointments, and their doctors are like, yeah, no problem, dude.
Yeah.
You got delayed, huh? This sucks.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, you have a time limit to get your boss in on your raids with you, and then they too will be like, nah, it's all good. Everyone, early break. Shut the office down for a week. We get it. You got to talk to those clients. You'll figure it out.
The other piece of news that they put out, it was a live letter. They talk a lot about all sorts of stuff. But the one that would actually be interesting for people who don't play the game to talk about is what they are doing with that game's PvP. And that is, they are gutting it. So Final Fantasy XIV has player versus player stuff. It's got one called The Feast, which is, I think it's 4v4, but it doesn't matter. It's not good. Let's start right there. It's not good.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone like a PvP system in any MMO ever. It's always I've always heard complaints about it.
Times where people liked it, and there were some
even
others,
Warframe, which is generally liked.
Warframe's PvP is like the actual worst ever.
Okay, but this is what I just mean. I keep hearing how bad these things are all the time.
Right. So, step 1, FF14's PvP is not that good. Step 2. The Feast is the primo PvP that is the only one that actually has rewards anyone would actually want, right? Step 3, Feast runs on seasons. And the seasons are usually 1 or 2 patches long. So I think the last season of the Feast was season 19, which gives you an example of like how many of them there have been. Number 4, the top 100 ranked players on each server are the only ones that get the rewards that everyone wants.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. That's insane. Why?
And the armor is, I shit you not, universally the best looking stuff in the entire game. The mounts are some of the best in the entire game.
Okay, no. Hold on a second. That's not rarity. That's like non-existent when you're talking about millions.
A server that has
and millions of people,
5,000 people on it.
That's non-existent rarity. Like,
right, but now we get to point 6. It's not limited by service account, which means you and your 5 alts, if you bought and win trade hard enough, can get 5 spots of that 100 per server.
So multiple people are also bullshitting it.
So for 19 seasons, the only people who have received any of these super good ass rewards are people who go hard on it. And I mean, like, I can't raid, I can't finish the story, I can't do the patch content. I need to go hard on this. I know one guy who has it legit. It's a guy who comes to my streams and I see him on my server. His name's Chichen. That guy went hard.
When
everyone else cheats their way through win trading, bots, etc.
When I heard about like MMOs hiring economists to sit down and help them figure out how to do things, like, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, that's cool, and like, it's gone from a like, oh, that's a novel idea that makes sense, to like, no, like, everything involving the like reward system for this larger group of people in a shared space, and like rarity numbers and like things like this, like, no matter what you do, people will find a way to abuse it. That's number one. It'll always happen. You have to anticipate that and find ways to either disincentivize it, punish it, or make it airtight in the way it rewards people. And the more you talk about these things in MMOs, the more it's like the emergent cancers
That
of
is
the
player
system
behavior.
are like from day one, they're just a growth that's encroaching. And like when you introduce systems like that, it feels like I understand the balance between being like ridiculously anti-player and being like incentive driven, like rarity, good, play more, get the thing, get the yay. But like there has to be a percentage point where it's like 0.001% of players have this equipment where that serves no beneficial function. There has to be a number.
So I sent you a photo of last season's Feast armor in the Discord tab. And I mean this as somebody who's played this game for 7 years. That's probably the best looking piece of tank armor in the game. It even has a special wind effect completely unique to it.
Shadow Cleaver's attire.
It also, I don't know how they did it. It also appears to be like legitimately like a higher fidelity and higher texture quality than other gear. I've seen one human being with it ever. It was the guy I mentioned earlier. So Feast has had a situation where people who get this shit will threaten to cut you if changes are made to the format because they managed to get it, and they'll be goddamned if you'll repay your student. Get your Feast armor without having to go super hard on it.
I don't care. Like, you put something out, there's a time frame expected. Show what you expect that to be. Show what you expect people to to legitimately do to get the thing. And when it results in everyone that gets it is just a criminal, you have to change the system.
Or a psychopath.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Too bad.
So, today, they announced we're going to do a new small-scale PvP. And people are like, And then they announced we're also getting rid of Feast entirely. And people are like, okay.
Okay.
And then the next announcement is that rewards will no longer be based exclusively on season. And people are like, okay. And then they go, okay, you'll have what is essentially a battle pass, but it'll be free forever. Across the entire future of the game. And you can use the tokens you get from it to buy whatever you want.
Hey.
And the first rewards coming are the old Feast
exclusive armors. Okay. Yeah. That's how you fix a fucking problem.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are mad. And by a lot, I mean literally maybe 500.
Because a lot of money was spent. Now, here's the other thing, is you're telling me it took 19 seasons to fucking crack down on this and fix it?
It's the kind of thing where they made the mistake when they announced Feast. When they announced it, they said, you'll be able to get exclusive rewards for getting the top 100. And here's the problem. Then they said, and you'll never be able to get it anywhere else. So every time a discussion ever came up, people who had earned the last season's stuff went, I only worked hard because you told me that this would be the only way I could ever get it, and it's an MMO, and it's an exclusive status symbol, and I would not have busted my ass playing PvP that much during that season if it wasn't exclusive, yada, yada, yada. And eventually, that just became, like, who cares?
And that was this week's Woolie's Eyes Bug Out at MMO practices. Like being explained.
No.
Jesus Christ.
That's not
When
this
does
week's.
it stop?
That's the first of this week's. Because the other thing that they talked about during that live letter is that they are finally instituting a lottery system for the housing market so that they can cut down on landlording and price gouging in the digital house market.
It's a government. You have a cabinet of game developers that have to create a system that your citizens
So-
are happy with.
In FF14 right now, you know how you get a house? You want to guess how you get a house?
Join
you
a
get enough
guild.
money. No, you have enough money on your character, and your character doesn't own a house already, and you run up to an empty plot, and you go, I would like to buy this house, and you buy it.
Okay, but it's an instance. It's not actually game space.
It's a limited instance.
But you're not denying actual real estate in-game world when you purchase something.
Yes, you are.
Why? Wasn't that the problem with EverQuest? Or
it was.
what do you like? Didn't you learn the lesson that
here's
limited actual real estate is the problem and make
So
everything an instance to not have this issue?
So here's how it works. Here's how it works, Woolie. The housing servers are an instance, but there's only so many of them. I think right now there's 24 times 3 wards. I might be wrong, but the point is there's only X amount of houses, and there's, let's say, 24 million potential people that would want a house in-game. So, what happens when a new housing market goes up? Like when the expansion, they had the Shirogane Asian housing wards go up, right? What did you have to do? Well, me and everyone in my FC had to spread around the guild money so that everyone was sitting on 50 million in their character's account. Then you had to wake up early when the server went live and rush to get to the plot we've all pre-selected
and rig the bid.
Right. You got there before somebody else.
And rig the bid as a group so that it goes to one of you no matter what.
If people don't log in for long enough periods of time, their houses will get demolished to open it back up, which leads to situations where your neighborhood will have a permanent squat settlement of people who never log out. Because the instant they see the house disappear, they will have 10 frames to mash the A button to buy it before the 50 people next to them also buy it.
What's the time limit from being the house being empty?
It's a couple months.
Okay.
And there's no way to tell when that timer will pop. So all you do is go, hey, nobody. This house is slated for demolition. You know that, but the date and time, who knows? So you.
And if anyone is standing inside of it, the timer is locked.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's where all of that would be fine if not. And you can go get an old Kotaku article about this where they interviewed somebody where there are players who all they want to do is play house. The MMO is a side thing. I believe it's on. There's I want to say it's on Zalera, which is a lower population server, in which 2 gentlemen went there, made so much gil and so many alts that they bought up entire wards of houses. And I'm talking like 50 plus houses. So that entire neighborhoods were owned by single service accounts so they could build their perfect neighborhood. Now, this server in question is a lower population server that some people move to explicitly so that they have a better shot at getting housing, only to find, oh no, there's literal digital slumlords here that will never sell. They rotate their accounts so it never happens. And this has been the state. The change to the housing system is as follows. 1, it's a lottery. The houses go on sale. Everybody says, I have the money right now. I will buy it. Keep with me. I will buy it when it releases, and it lotterizes. Number two, wait. Only 1 house per service account. No more can one person with 30 alts get a whole neighborhood. They get 1. If they want a second one, they have to buy another sub.
Okay.
Number 3, you have to be a certain level to do it. You need to there's a bunch of conditions that I'm not going to go.
You have to be a real person.
You have to be a player character.
Yeah.
You
You have to
cannot
be a real
you
person.
cannot just build like fire off a level 1 alt and fill them with money
Okay.
and send them off.
Okay.
And number whatever, in addition to all of this expansion in the 0.1 patch will be having some kind of island resort like instance, which is going to basically be like a Harvest Moon style single player instance for a house that is yours.
Okay. Animal Crossing is your
Animal
analogy.
Crossing, Harvest Moon.
Yes.
But it'll be just for you.
Yes.
But you'll have it. And
Yes.
all this other housing shit is for, you're in a community or there's a public house.
But can people visit your personal house?
Unknown as of right now.
Because all of this and even the improvements to the system, I'm like, stop, right? Because if you tell me like, hey, we put some sprinkles on this plate of shit, I'm like, I don't, but why are you serving me a plate of shit? Like, what is the benefit to making limited physical real estate in the MMO? Is it technical server space reasons?
Yes, that's one of the reasons. So the housing servers there are more housing servers than game servers because of how much resources it takes up. Because you need to accommodate, you have to run, the game instance, and on top of that, you also have to run in every one of tens of thousands of combinations of housing items and decorations, both in and outside the houses, while simultaneously allowing huge player amounts to coexist in those spaces simultaneously.
Okay.
Like, it is a very serious resource intensive thing.
So simply allowing, simply creating 100% of houses to be all instances, and allow and having people join your instance and do all the shit that you do or whatever is not a thing that the resources can handle.
No, I think that's going to be the solution, because I bet when we go to this Harvest Moon Island or whatever, you're not going to be able to decorate your house. I bet that's the solution, that they will not have to run, a million backups of server space so you make sure you don't lose your goddamn items. Also, here are the two solutions they've tried in the past. They made apartments where you can get a single room apartment in a housing ward.
Oh yeah, okay.
But you can't decorate the outside of your apartment.
Oh, and who's the landlord? Who'd you have to?
The game.
Yeah. Okay.
You buy them though. It's more like a condo.
Cool. Nice. Yeah.
They're also limited, and the second one, which is, I think it was the moment that when this blew up in their face, was when the decision was made to make a new type of instance housing. At some point, I think it was a year ago, maybe it was a little bit before, they doubled the amount of available houses. They said, listen, there's 165,000 total houses available. We're going to double it to almost 300,000. And that shit was gone by end of day. And all the problems stayed.
Burn it down. Burn the whole thing down. No houses for anyone. No one lives anywhere. Destroy it.
They've added
Destroy it all.
They've added so many features in regards to the housing system, and I have friends that if you took out this thing, they would lose one of their biggest desires to play the game. A good friend of mine, Creepy Porpoise, like half of her game time is decorating the guild house. And guess what? It looks incredible.
I'm sure it does. And I'm sure, yes, there are entire social communities for role playing that entirely are all about that. This system of like, that is horrendous, dude. That is so garbage sounding. I'm thinking of the fucking, like, I don't know, I played Monster Hunter World, and you get your little room. You want to put fish in your little tank or whatever, go dress up. Sure, okay. The limited actual real estate, real world problems coming to MMOs, I fucking hate everything about that.
So here's the thing.
Dear really God, important. That's awful.
Our friend of the show, Doc Burford, recently wrote a great article on NFTs. And in it, he describes, he uses an example of Destiny, which uses an example of World of Warcraft, where Luke Smith talks about how he got to be the Scarab Lord on his server and how great that felt and how exclusive that felt, that he was the person who opened up the gates back in 2007 or whatever it was back in World of Warcraft, and how that was incredible. And part of Destiny's design followed that. There's a problem, and it's been a problem endemic to the MMO space. When you create rewards that are exclusive for a percentage of your population, those people are going to feel great. And everyone else is going to feel like shit because they're never going to get it. And that's not why a lot of people play games. In order to create a feeling of exclusivity, you necessarily need to create the feeling of want. Both of the system changes that I've talked to you today about FF14 going forward are stabbing that idea in the chest.
Yeah.
One is, they're finally going, this is stupid.
But to begin with, I didn't even know that existed. You should just be
able to go get it. Well,
like,
no, because you don't play the game. How would you?
Yeah, no, I know. But what I'm saying is like, and I'm just like, what I constantly like crashing into at like full speed on the fucking Autobahn mentally with this is just the idea that you buy a game and then you can do the things that are in the game. And every week there's a new version of thanks for buying or renting the game for a month. There's a million things you're not allowed to do in the game that you've purchased. And I'm just like, but I bought the game. And
well, Woolie,
I'm willing to spend the time. If I have to earn it, that's one thing. But
you
this is not even
literally describing the beginning of the conversation that leads, and that's why it's okay for me to go on a Party Finder and buy raids because I deserve that goddamn ultimate axe.
And that is exactly
6 days a week.
And that is why I was about to, and that's why I stopped, because that's why it's like one of the stupidest takes ever of like, that's like, no, I'm allowed to go like buy my raids or whatever. No. If you can do that, if you can access it by playing the fucking game to get the thing we're talking about, that's one thing. But you're describing a system of like, even with that time and effort, go fuck yourself. No, you're not on the leaderboard. You're not in the top 100 out of thousands.
I'm going to raise my hands here. The housing thing and the feast thing came from different places. The housing thing is literally our servers can only handle the X amount of houses because it's resource intensive. That at least makes sense to start, right?
There's a cost reasoning.
The feast shit from day one was like, dude, only the biggest badasses are going to have this shit.
Guess you don't want it bad enough.
Are you as big of a badass to use 7 bot accounts and win trade with a cabal of dudes on Discord?
Okay, so from the bottom level, right? From on one step.
Before you go on to that, I want to hold up my hand. Triple Triad has tournaments in Final Fantasy XIV that are automated. There is no cool ass big reward for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think all you get is a title.
Mm-hmm.
Triple Triad tournaments for a long time were 100% rigged for years.
And there's no reward.
Like there you'd get like some MGP, which is like gold saucer points or whatever, and I think you could get a title, but there was no mount associated with it.
Nothing nothing flashy.
And they were rigged
still
for years.
It's a real government. It's a real economy. It's a real social system that goes through all the strain, stress, and pains, of everything.
Yeah.
On a large level, the housing system goes to shit. On a large level, some asshole will jump the line in front of you at the grocery store and then be like, fuck you, too bad. Like, people will be shit on every micro level of this system.
There's another one. I forgot. there was a they wanted to do like a raid kind of thing, but for people who do crafting and gathering, right? So they had something called restoration, which is basically you're rebuilding part of the game that got destroyed in a war, right? And so
Okay.
you gotta give material, and that thing had seasons, and the top 10 people of each crafting job per server per season would get a unique title. And in order to get the title Hand of Creation, you had to place top 10 on all crafting and gathering jobs
That's so
on the final season.
Should have been top 5. 10's too many.
No, here's the part where it was the most toxic, because you could see other people's point rankings. So you would be like crafting for 10 hours and cash it all in, and you would literally see, oh dude, I went from number 3 to number 2. And then you'd log in tomorrow and you've been kicked down to number 11.
So you see the race. You see it. Yeah.
And so my buddy Vel has the Hand of Creation title. Why? Because he got to work from home during the pandemic, and he's a fiend.
Yeah. Okay, so you get that, right? And you get the house, and you get this, Shadow Cleaver attire, and you get the little icon that you said that you get for clearing that that old bird gang thing. And then you do what Min did, and you clear ultimate. You clear Uwu.
Yeah, you clear
right?
ultimate. You clear Uwu, and you get your Uwu sword.
What does it look like when Big Cockmaster Giant Dick G logs in and has every possible flex that like 10 other people have in the entire game? Like what does it even look like?
I have a friend who looks like this, so I can tell you. You can't equip all of them simultaneously.
Of course you can't.
Like I said, my pal
why would you
Vel,
be able to stunt that hard?
My pal Vel, aka Cool Lightning, has multiple glam plates, and he's walking around with he's walking for people who play the game, they would get this. He's either walking around with the Hand of Creation title, or the World Class Troller title, or the Honest Gillionaire title, and he's riding on that fucking pterodactyl you get from Restoration, or he's walking around on the Kerberos from DR Savage, or he's strolling around on whatever the fucking latest raid mount is, and he's got alternatively the Uwu, the T, or it's Uwu T and the other one weapon on his back, glowing like other people's weapons aren't allowed to glow. Ukov, right? The Ukov one. And what does he look like? He looks like a Lalafell dressed in a Starbucks uniform. Because at a certain point, like on the achievement scale, you just start to wear like mean garbage. Because
And do the people part like the Red Seas? Is there even like at a certain point, I talked about this when I saw my old roommate like going ham with the fucking super shiny badass glowing armor in WoW, and I was like, but the whole screen is that.
Yeah, so
and I just don't get it.
I will tell you how it happens. Okay? You're in the housing ward and you see a guy crafting, and then the guy stands up and he's some shithead wearing dumb bullshit, and you see, oh, that's a really rare title. And then they switch to their battle class and you see, like, let's say the T weapon, and you go, wow, that's a really nice that's a really nice dancer, Chakram. Hey, let me just look up how to actually get that. And you look up a tea guide and you find a Google Doc that's 38 pages long with a 2-hour-long video guide, and you go, I'm not fucking doing that. That's how it goes.
And that's how it goes. And somewhere that player feels that moment where you go, oh my god, what the fuck? And they go, yeah. And they get a little, right in the chest.
Dude, not even. Like, my pal does all that. All of it. Every relic weapon, every raid, every item, all the titles he would want. And Endwalker's coming. He's like, I don't know what to do in the game. Oh, I know what I'll do. And this is only really going to hit people who play the game. I'm going to go ahead and catch every single big fish in the game. And he did it!
Yeah.
There's nothing left!
Yeah. See, but once he catches every big fish in the game, can other people still catch fish on their own accounts?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Then we're good! Catch all the fish you want. But if he emptied the ocean so that no one could ever catch a fish, that would be a very different discussion. And that I would have a problem with.
Well, that's when you get in to running the market board. See, when you run the market board in FF14, say you put 5 items up at 1 million gil, and some motherfucker undercuts you at 900,000. So you undercut him at 850. So he undercuts you at 700,000. So then you undercut him, and you undercut him, and you undercut him, and you get down to 300,000. Then you buy his item and put them all back up at 1 million.
Oh man, yeah. No, it really is just it's real life. Everything that can go wrong in real life eventually can get duplicated in this type of environment. God bless. And here's the thing, some of this stuff, like if we were talking about EVE Online and the heists that go down in that, I'm like, it's practically encouraged in the system with how open and crazy that is, right? So that's fair game because holy shit, that's the point in a way. But to me, this is still it's an RPG. It's a game where you're going and you're doing raids and you're beating bosses and you're getting stronger and then you're casting spells or getting weapons and teaming up with your friends. So all the other shit is just around that core idea, as opposed to the EVE Online, like this is duplicitous by nature design.
Woolie, I joined a Discord server purely because it has a robot in it that I can type something like !market space light the golden whisker, and the Kupo bot will give me the current price of that item per server as well as its historical average price on various quality levels, which apparently it's going cheap at 1.7 million on Odin. If you want to get that fucking minion cheap, go to Odin right now.
And would you pay the $30 to migrate over to Odin to get it and then migrate back?
No, you can just travel between data centers now. Servers now.
Oh, I thought it was a $30 migration.
If you want to move your character permanently. But if you want to visit...
If you want to visit. Got it. Okay.
And here's the thing, Woolie. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
When they made the ability to visit other servers, and buy from other servers, it represented an economic catastrophe.
Because now we're in the international market.
Because all of a sudden, you're not just dealing with those 2 guys who keep undercutting you on raid weapons. Now you're dealing with the community. And turns out, different servers have different amounts of insane people.
Yeah. You opened up the Silk Road.
Ultros has a bizarrely high amount of supercrafters. I don't know why. But you know what doesn't? Leviathan.
Okay, so... Hold on. So what is to stop me from visiting a server that's not my home server every single time I play?
0.
So what's the point of migrating permanently?
You can't own a house on a server you don't live on. and there's a good deal of social features that don't work.
It comes back to the same shit
No,
every time.
no, hold on. There are social services that don't work. You cannot join a party normally on a server you don't actually live on.
Okay.
You can't join a free company on a server you don't live on. Stuff
All
like
right.
that.
My cell phone doesn't work with these towers. It's not on the same cell system.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, all right. My SIM card doesn't know. All right. Okay. Well, you know what? Those are some
sweating talking about it. I am like drenched in sweat right now.
This shit is so fucking whack. Those are some good fixes. I'm glad to hear they're improving the game.
It's going to be 2 weeks late, but I'm sure it'll be fun. They'd also put out a launch trailer, which, contrary to every launch trailer they've ever put out, did not really have that many spoilers in it. Kind of shocking, actually.
Well, this is like one of the big finales of this arc, right? Like,
yeah,
can't spoil shit.
But like the Heavensward launch trailer has the post-credit scene in it.
Okay.
Like they have gone bananas with this shit in the past.